and the biggest problem is you may not be there when the portfolio, you can see a line of portfolios in the reception if there's a job going, and you think, wow, the girl says just leave it there. So you're not there to be there when the guy's flicking through it. Generally, I'd keep it short. I'd always say 10, 12 pieces max. Don't go on and on.
Yeah,
no, definitely not.
But the great thing is, if you can be there and the persons will stop and look at one campaign or something, listen to what they'll say. I mean, it may not be positive, it might be quite negative, but if you keep getting people stopping and saying negative on one particular piece of campaign, get it out really. Yeah. Take it out. You might have liked it. Try and listen. You will find some people will be a bit catty or bitchy, but then if you meet some decent people who will say, I like that, so you can keep that in. So
it's where you can't be precious, really.
Yeah, you just have to sit back and nod, really.
Yeah.
And I think if you're not going to be there when an agency's looking at your portfolio, pluck up the courage to phone them and get that feedback. Really.
What do you think? Yeah.
They won't chase you for
telling you back.
But from a purely practical level, speaking of the rows of portfolios, really used to sort of be one of those things that people would phone up and I go, which one's your portfolio? They go, oh, it's the black one. Like when I was at university, I saw, when I sort of first came, I saw everyone had black portfolios, so I went and brought a white one just because I thought, oh, that'd be interesting. And when I was used to wander around, I like, oh, you're the guy with the white portfolio. Yeah. That was it. It was great. Like it was one of those little things that easily identified me. So if you can do anything,
everybody will have a white portfolio.
Yeah, everyone's going to buy white portfolio. But if you can, it doesn't. I'm not saying don't use a black portfolio, but if you can do something that, again, if I had to have a black portfolio now, I'd illustrate all over it just to give it some form of expression about me. Because nothing worse than when I was having to look for a row. Yeah, it's the black one, and there'd be a tag that they normally put on the corner, which has fell out when they've posted it through the courier. And you're just like, unzip, no, unzip, no. And by the time you get to it, you're already like, which one? It's sort of, so just from a purely practical level, I think that's quite a nice thing to do.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just saying, think of the people that are looking at it too. If they're sort of creative director or group head or something, they probably don't get to see these at the end of the day. They're probably quite wiped out, stressed, tired and everything. So see it from their point of view. Start off with a bang really, if you can. Because they may not go any further. They may stop on the second one if they've got a line of them. Because it takes time, doesn't it? So the best work at the front, really.
And I know we haven't mentioned it in this question, but and we're only talking about hard copy portfolios. But it's something very pertinent to mention digital and websites and PDFs and all of those type of things. I rarely get asked now. By any agency if I can send them a hard copy portfolio. Believe it or not, it's have you got a PDF of work, or better yet, have they got a website? So again, when sending a website, it is going directly to them. It is easy for them to open it up, but it's going to their inbox, which think about that black road next to their table, multiply that like 10 miles down the road, that's their inbox. There's hundreds and hundreds of emails in there, and it's much easier to press delete on an email than it is anything else. So again, you have to make your website or blog or whatever it is that you've got online or PDF that stand out as well, as more so than your portfolio actually. Again, it's a visual representation of yourselves.
Yeah, I think that's interesting thinking about sort of the inbox. That's another great thing for a copywriter to have a go at. If you can come up with a subject line, that will mean that they won't go
the subject line.
The subject line. I mean, for me, it was slightly different because a lot of my stuff was viral. So by the time I'd speak to people, they'd already seen my stuff, and it would just be a case of going, I did that. So if you can do things like that as well, if you can build momentum and get other people to pass it around and talk about the things that you're working on, that's a really great way in. If you don't have to, like for the job I'm doing now, I didn't show any work. They knew already what I did, and they went, we would like you to come work for me, and that was it. And like that's the best interview I've ever had. We went down the pub and had a bottle of red wine and said, come work for me. Okay, do you need a reference? Nope. Do you want to see my work? Already seen it. That was it. That was the entire. So if you can get in this position where you're putting your work out there and you are writing a blog and people are talking about your sort of stuff that you're doing already, by people subscribing and chatting, you're an interesting sort of team, then hopefully you've already got something to sort of, when you pop in on the inbox, oh, I've heard about those guys, and that's it. You've got that kind of virtual foot in the door.
I think that particular question could probably ramble on for the rest of the afternoon. I think what you should do is ask it again next year, because quite simply it will probably have changed again, because it's changing that fast all the time. Get an update on those type of things. Thanks guys, that was really good. Thank you. David, you had a question? You're okay? Well, I know you're okay, but you have a question.
Somebody up there.
Fine. Right, can I have the microphone down here please, on the right hand side? Thank you. Can I just add one other element to the portfolio syndrome, is that we're constantly talking to you about projects, and in the third year it's obviously about negotiating with the member of staff and all of that. You can also generate your own projects as well, and one project I'm particularly passionate about is called The Book, and all you have to do is come up with a subject. You then write 5,000 words, that obviously somebody says that's okay. You then generate all your own image, so that again is a brilliant thing to do, and then you design it and you put it together. It's called a book, and what that will do will make you stand out in the crowd.
Yeah, I did my book after. I did a sort of a semi-book whilst I was at uni, but I liked the idea, so I did it after I finished, because I kind of, at the time I was so busy, I didn't think I could have time to do a full 5,000, so I did some of it. Then when I finished, my book was it was called How to Get Into Advertising and Do Really, Really Well. Hopefully you'll enjoy the book better than the title. And it was just me talking about how I would get into advertising and my thoughts as not being in advertising, how I was thinking about going ahead to do it. And I used to give this to sort of people in agencies. And again, I wasn't asking for it. I just thought, oh, is this true? Is this a great thing? And it was just another way of starting to talk to people. Because I would say, I've written a book about how to get into advertising. And they say, do you work in advertising? No. And I think, who is he? It's a bit cocky. Why would you write about that? You don't know anything. And it's great. They wanted to straight away go through it to see what I thought.
See if they missed anything.
Yeah, and I got calls from people saying, "Oh, you're right about that. You're definitely wrong about that." Because it was stupid things. It's like art direction and pictures I'd taken. It was like things like boasts. Like I once completed a game with Connect 4 in 3 moves. It was a whole chapter title, and it was just on about cheating. And I said cheating is the best way of doing anything, and if you can cheat. And so I would have people that would phone up and go, do you really think that? And I was like, well, I don't know. It was just a topic of discussion. It was just something I thought. And I'm not a copywriter. It's very rare for art directors to actually write any length of. But I just thought, wouldn't it be great just to put my perspective down and put it out there? And again, it's just a great way. It's just a great conversation starter. So I do recommend doing a book.
I don't think it's important which area of specialism you think you come from. For me, that doesn't matter. Just get straight in there.